As the veil between the living and the dead grows thin, three formidable figures emerge from the depths of Irish folklore to haunt the night: the Dullahan, the Puca, and the Banshee. The Dullahan rides forth as a headless horseman, wielding death with every name he calls. In the shadows lurks the Puca, a mischievous spirit that delights in leading the unwary astray, embodying chaos and fear. Meanwhile, the mournful wails of the Banshee echo through the darkness, heralding inevitable loss with her sorrowful cries. Together, these creatures weave a tapestry of dread and intrigue, reminding us of the ever-present specter of mortality that lingers in the shadows. Prepare to delve into their chilling tales. The Dullahan, a chilling figure from Irish folklore, is often depicted as a headless horseman who rides through the night on a black steed. His head, which he carries under his arm, is said to be a grotesque visage, often described as having an ominous grin and glowing eyes. The Dullahan is a spectral figure that serves as a harbinger of death, and his presence instills fear in those who hear his story. Traditionally, the Dullahan is believed to roam the countryside on Samhain night, a time when the veil between the living and the dead is particularly thin. His eerie appearance and dreadful purpose make him one of the most feared figures of Irish folklore. It was said that he would stop at the homes of those whose time had come, calling out their names to summon their souls. In this way, he represents the inevitable approach of death, a reminder that life is fleeting. The legend states that when the Dullahan arrives, he does not need a horse to ride. Instead, he travels at incredible speeds, aided by the darkness and the fear he inspires. His horse, too, is a dark and foreboding figure, often described as having wild eyes and a powerful skeletal frame. The sound of his approach is said to be announced by the clattering of bones and the eerie echoes of his horse's hooves on the ground. The Dullahan carries a whip made from a human spine, which he uses to drive his horse. This weapon, both gruesome and symbolic, emphasizes his connection to death and the macabre. When he stops, a person is said to die, marking the end of their life. His presence is also associated with the sounds of a distant, eerie scream, which serves as an omen for those who hear it. Villagers believe that if they heard the scream of the Dullahan, it was too late to escape their fate. To protect themselves from the Dullahan, people would light bonfires on Samhain, believing that the flames could ward off his sinister presence. The fires not only served as a source of light in the darkness, but also as a means to guide the souls of the departed. This ritual of lighting bonfires became an integral part of the Samhain celebrations, intertwining joy and fear as villagers danced around the flames, acutely aware of the spectral figures that might lurk in the shadows. Stories of the Dullahan were passed down through generations, each recounting the same chilling tales of encounters and omens. These tales instilled a deep-seated belief in the supernatural and the dangers that accompanied the arrival of Samhain. The Dullahan was not merely a story. He represented the very real fears of the community, reminding them of their mortality and the thin line between life and death. As the night of Samhain approached, stories of the Puca would circulate through villages, warning individuals to tread carefully and show respect to the unknown. Legends say that the Puca would emerge from the shadows, preying on those who ventured too far from their homes. Those who encountered the Puca could find themselves caught in a web of confusion and terror, as the spirit would lead them astray, often laughing at their misfortune. The Puca's ability to shape-shift added to its menacing reputation. It could transform from a benign-looking horse into a monstrous beast with glowing eyes and sharp teeth, leaving unsuspecting victims in a state of panic. Some tales describe the Puca as possessing the ability to speak, taunting travelers and leading them into dangerous situations. The creature thrived on the fears of those it encountered, making it an embodiment of the darker aspects of human nature and the uncertainties of the world. Villagers would tell stories of the Puca as a cautionary tale, warning children and adults alike about the dangers of wandering alone at night. The Puca's reputation was such that even the bravest souls would think twice before embarking on a nighttime journey. To appease the Puca, people would leave out offerings of food and drink, hoping to avoid its wrath and ensure safe passage. The fear of the Puca extended beyond mere stories. It influenced behaviors and traditions during Samhain. Many families would perform rituals to honor the Puca and other spirits, hoping to gain favor and protection. The Puca's chaotic nature served as a reminder of the unpredictability of life, particularly during a time when the boundaries between the living and the dead were believed to be blurred. As the bonfires burned brightly on Samhain night, villagers would share their tales of the Puca, creating an atmosphere of both fear and fascination. The stories evoked a sense of community as they gathered together to ward off the darkness. In this way, the Puca was not just a figure of fear, but also a catalyst for unity, prompting people to come together and confront their anxieties. The Puca is a fascinating creature from Irish folklore, characterized as a mischievous and unpredictable spirit that can take various forms, though it is often represented as a dark horse or goat. The Puca embodies the essence of chaos and unpredictability, symbolizing the fears and uncertainties that people grappled with, especially during Samhain, when the supernatural is believed to be at its strongest. Legends say that the Banshee appears to families with ancient lineage, serving as a protector and forewarning of the end of life. Her wail, a haunting sound that carries through the night, is said to resonate with deep sadness and despair. When the Banshee is heard, it serves as a signal that death is near, instilling fear in those who believe in her ominous warnings. The Banshee's origins can be traced back to the ancient Celtic belief in the supernatural. She is often associated with the concept of the otherworld, a realm where spirits dwell and the dead rest. The Banshee acts as a bridge between the living and the dead, her cries serving as a reminder of mortality and the transient nature of life. During Samhain, when the veil between worlds is thin, the Banshee's presence becomes more pronounced. Villagers would listen intently for her wails, as they believed that hearing her lament meant that a family member was soon to pass. To mitigate her predictions, families would leave offerings of food and drink outside their homes, hoping to appease the Banshee and avoid her foreboding messages. The fear of the Banshee permeated the culture, affecting how people approached death and mourning. Families would gather together, sharing stories of their ancestors, paying homage to those who had passed. The sound of her cry served as a grim reminder to cherish each moment and to hold loved ones close. In storytelling, the Banshee's cries were often recounted with reverence and trepidation, becoming an integral part of the Samhain celebrations. Her presence at the fireside, along with the crackling flames, fostered a sense of community as villagers came together to honor their deceased and to confront their fears of death. Thank you for joining us on this eerie journey through the shadows of Irish folklore. As you drift off into the night, remember that the tales of the Dullahan, the Puca, and the Banshee linger in the darkness, watching and waiting. Sleep well, but beware. Some stories are not just tales. They are whispers of what lies beyond. Until next time, may your dreams be free of shadows.